Garrett says his starting quarterback is indeed expected to play against Washington on Sunday. Do or die time. Shannon, what does this tell you?
Tell me anything. Tell me you got bumps and bruises like everybody else. It's hard for me to believe that in week 17 of the NFL season, that 3, 5, maybe even high as 7% of the NFL players aren't taking at least some kind of injection to get out there and play. So, Dak, this is not unique to Dak. Skip Bayless wants you to think that it's unique to Dak.
I haven't spoken.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying. I just know you. Because, I watched the game very closely. Even though I don't have the sound on and I'm looking.
You got to get a TV with sound.
I don't want
I'll get you one.
No, I don't want with sound. I don't want sound. People hate coming to my house and watching TV. They're like, how do you watch everything with no sound? I don't need to hear sound. People make you form your opinions for you. And I don't like that. I like to form my own opinions. Now, I'm watching the game on Sunday, Jen, and I'm looking to see, I see him on the sideline, and I say, okay, well, where's the trainer? Maybe the trainer's going to come over there and ask Dak, are you okay? Maybe he's going to stick his hand up under his pad and feel around and say, well, is that tender? Okay, I didn't see that. I said, well, maybe he went to that tent. Because, you know, Jen, they got them old pop-up tents. They pop up behind the bench. I said, well, maybe Dak's going to go in there and see. I didn't see him go in there. So he's fine, right, Skip? That's what you tell me. Talked about my guy last night, remember?
Yeah.
I forget what you said.
Don't put him in the same sentence.
You're right. You're exactly right.
One guy's a warrior and the other guy's not.
One guy's a wounded warrior.
Yeah, right.
Skip, stop. Why would the Cowboys risk aggravating this injury? You know, there's two, aggravate and irritate. Aggravate means to work, to make words. Irritate means to bother. So, Skip, why would you even put him in practice? True, Skip, I remember having the same issue with my ankles. And the Broncos wanted me to practice. I said, look here, this is what I'm going to do. I'll take one shot a week. You get it for the game or you get it for practice. You choose. Because that's it. I'm not taking a shot to practice. Why would Dak take a cortisone shot, Skip, to practice? Because all you're going to do, now to start taking those shots on top of each other, now you're asking for trouble. Let him go ahead and take the shot. Look, Dak knows where he should go with his reads. But you're going to make a situation worse by injecting that, making him, putting the cortisone in there just so he can throw during the course of the week. Because after a while, Skip, it loses effectiveness. You can't keep, because the more you do it, the more you're going to have to do it. And you don't want that. So let Dak, get the mental reps, what he needs to get, and everything's going to be okay. At least you hope so. But it's hard for me to imagine. Now, I played with a guy, John Elway, who missed time for the very same reason. Shoulder. Didn't practice. Shoot the shoulder up, come out there and ball out. Balling. That was a warrior. I don't know what your guy is, what you pretend to be. Stop saying that. Stop saying that. Look, last week, Skip, we didn't see any signs that Dak irritated or aggravated or made this situation worse than what it already is. If it is a situation, that's TBD, to be determined. Now you're talking about excuses. Now, guess what, Jen? When they miss these playoffs, guess what's going to happen?
They've already missed the playoffs. It's over.
No. When they miss the playoffs officially, because theoretically they still can make it, but once they're officially booted from the playoffs, it's going to come out that Dak's been dealing with his injury since week 3. Because I know how they're going to try to do it. Because if you want something to grow, you got to add yeast to it. That's what my grandma told me. Said, boy, you want a big old biscuit? Add a lot of flour to it. It'll be a big old biscuit. And that's what y'all try to do, Skip Bayless. You try to sell this story, but I'm not going to let you do it. You're going home, and there's nothing wrong with your quarterback going to take this L to Washington. Y'all might beat Washington because they like, we're in number 2 spot. We don't want to get that up. We're going to get Chase Young. So with that being said, Skip, there's nothing going on here. Dak doesn't need to practice. There are a lot of guys that's not practicing, but that's going to be asked to go out there on Sunday and perform at a high level. And Dak is no different.
If you're right about everything you just said, then maybe my team did learn from the master, the ultimate Cowboy fan, LeBron James.
Oh, stop it.
Maybe they're learning how to make excuses, to build in excuses so that you can then say, look what happened, because LeBron, he owns excuses.
Skip, ain't nobody saying anything about, you heard nothing the first month and a half of the season. All you heard was this week, this upcoming week, like Monday, that LeBron started dealing with a nagging injury. That was it, Skip. So don't start this notion that he's been complaining about this and he's had off, because he's putting up numbers that you or no one else thought he would be doing in year 17. So
obviously, LeBron needed an excuse to load manage one game before they played the Clippers on Christmas because he was just worn out mentally, and I don't blame him. He needed to load manage. He's about to turn, what is it, 42?
35.
Oh, 35. It seems like it's 40. 42.
No, it does not.
He's now about, what, a third of the way through his, what are we up to, 17th season.
17.
He deserves to look. He should. I've been telling you, he's playing a dangerous game. And so he needed that, and he needed the excuse to say, I'm just going to take the game
Greatness doesn't
off.
take off.
Yeah.
We don't take days off.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, when you load manage, you don't load manage. You've been going every day. You have not called in sick. You haven't had a bereavement. You hadn't had anything. And you've been going at this for since when? 2000, cold piece of day. Go back to what, 2003, 2004?
4.
So you haven't, have you taken a day off?
I got to knock on wood.
Now, knock on wood. Get on here. I ask you a simple question. Have you load managed?
Obviously, I'm not playing NBA basketball. It's a lot easier just to beat you.
No.
He was being nice and complimentary.
I know. Thank you. You're right, Jen.
The stress of dealing with me every single day.
That is true. I go home and say, you won't believe what he did today. So, back to my guy, Dak Prescott, the ultimate warrior. LeBron's a big fan of Dak Prescott. This was fascinating to me to see whether Dak would practice yesterday, because it would tell you a lot. If he did practice, then it was no real big deal, and they still have like 1,000,000,000 shot to get in the playoffs. So there's a reason to try to get back on that horse and ride it, to get back in that saddle as you build up to the closing game against your arch rival. And I get what you're talking about, the chase for chase, right? That's what it is. And yet it told me a lot. He couldn't practice, and I don't believe he'll practice all week because I think he sustained a serious shoulder injury. And he did take cortisone shot, and he did take pain-killing shots last week. And I didn't even mention this past Monday that, remember, because you don't listen to the sound, Troy Aikman had reported the week before on a big national Fox telecast that he had talked to Dak before the game, and Dak said he had a fractured index finger, at the tip of his index finger, had a hairline fracture on his throwing hand. So you got that on top of this.
Oh, putting it out there, huh?
Yeah.
See, he ain't got no public. He ain't got no team like LeBron that can put it out there. There's something
LeBron's
wrong
got
with it.
the ultimate team.
Yeah, Dak
Yes.
did his own work.
Well, I think he probably didn't mean for it to get out. I'm just guessing he thought it was just a little conversation with an all-time great Cowboy quarterback, you know, one of his idols, that he grew up loving.
He put it out there because he knew Troy being the guy that he is, the great employee of Fox Sports.
Yeah.
They knew he put it out there. That's why he said it out there, Jen.
Dak is not an excuse maker.
Yes,
Never has made it before.
No, he doesn't, but you make him for it.
I don't make him. I just know what the facts are. And the facts are that he went into that game and he did not look, you kept saying LeBron didn't look like himself. Dak did not look like himself from the start at Philadelphia. He did not. And he went 25 of 44, so that's a low. It's 59%. Usually he's a 65 to 70% completion. And in this game, he threw for 265, which was pretty great considering that he was a little off on 4 or 5 key throws. He just missed them the way he doesn't usually miss them.
Actually,
you know it, and I know it.
Actually, Skip, since week 11, he has been missing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, his QBR still remains top 5.
Skip,
So.
as a matter of fact, now that you mention it, he looked just like he did before they got down by 28 points to Green Bay. He looked just like they did against New Orleans, just like he did against the Jets, just like he did against Chicago, just like he did against Buffalo. So he looked the same to me.
Did he?
Yep.
Well, I saw a bunch of really good throws, even in that last drive. I saw 3 rockets to little Randall Cobb, who then inexplicably was not on the field for the final play of the game. Well, can you explain that? How can Dak overcome a coaching staff that on the final 4th down throw of the game, which still had a chance to be caught by Michael Gallup in the end zone. It wasn't a terrible throw. It's a little underthrown.
It was underthrown. Nobody knows.
Well, it's just a little bit. But did he get his hands on it?
No, the guy tipped it.
Oh, but was it right there?
Hold on, Skip. Maybe the coaching staff said, how can we overcome the poor play at quarterback?
Well, so wait a second. You're going to put Tavon Austin in the game in place of, wait a second, who is that guy who used to be the best receiver in football? Oh, yeah, Amari Cooper. So Amari's going to be on the sideline, and Randall Cobb, who's been your hottest receiver in the game, is going to be on the sideline for the final play of the game, and it's Dak's fault?
Don't you remember last year when they signed Lil Tavon? They got Lil Tavon.
No, that was two. You mean Randall? Or
No. You was
2 years.
No, you was heaping praise about how they got Lil Tavon.
Love him.
Ooh, he ran 4th. Dude, he was talking about he came out of West Virginia. He ran 4.33. Ooh, Lil Tavon, Lil Gadget. You just he
ran 4.3 on that go route. Did you see the go route? Was he not like 5 steps behind?
And what happened?
Overthrow. We saw underthrows and overthrows.
Okay, so you got
because my guy is playing with a shoulder that has cortisone in it, and it's just it's not comfortable. You're not in your comfort zone. He did not practice the full week before the biggest game of the season. What should that tell you? Trouble. Something is really wrong with his shoulder. A lot of quarterbacks would not have played with that.
I don't know. I'm not scared, but it tell me the mindset. The men's rate, the mental, the mind. What is the mind? See, his mind can't overcome. I don't feel right. I don't feel like I normally feel, and he couldn't overcome that. The strong.
So it's hard to grip the football because you got a fractured index.
No, Skip. Hold on. I didn't see one time the trainer look at his hand. They ain't squeeze it. They was like, "Are you okay?" I didn't see him like look at his finger. I ain't see him shake nothing.
Remember what happened the previous game? He came out with the glove on and he took it off, right?
I mean, he must be thought it was Halloween because he been tricking you and think he was good for a long time.
It was taped up.
Yeah,
taped up.
He thought it was Michael Jackson. Because you thought he been tricking you for a long time. You think he's a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Got your fool.
Well, so here we go again into the next biggest game of the year.
Oh, my God.
And he's not going to, I'll bet you he will not practice.